Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rebel Penguin Federation and your name is Multilogging, and today I'm going to be roasting the top 10 armies for pretty much no reason at all. I mean, I would say you guys haven't done anything wrong, but I mean, you're making my job pretty easy actually. I mean, everybody's got some problems, whether you're RPF or your golds, the top or the bottom of the leaderboard. Everybody's got something going on behind the scenes. Some things I've got to say about other armies are true to the other armies as well. It's just a bit of a shitfest really. But without further ado, I'll get started. Start from the top of the list. Obviously we've got Rebel Penguin Federation in the first list. I mean, I kind of burned them already, but no one can really prove they're multi-logging. They're quite good at hiding it, really, aren't they? But the real problem with RPF is Mikey. Okay. I've spoken to Mikey before, and he can be a very nice person to speak to, but other times he just kind of gets swept up in his own power a little bit, and it's just a bit obsessive. And not to mention, he kind of ruined Club Penguin for everyone else by just spamming autotypers everywhere. That was kind of his fault, and therefore the fault of RPF altogether. But altogether, really, RPF is just a very violent army that it values their pride a lot, and it goes too far. It goes too far eventually, but there we go. Now moving down to second place, we've got the Water Vikings, and I don't really think I need to say anything else other than pretty much every leader in the Water Vikings is involved with CPAC in some way or another. And so I'm surprised to see them in second place, this top 10 actually. I expected to see them in first again, but I suppose it was getting a little bit conspicuous that they were getting first every time. But I'm not challenging CPAC. I'm not saying they're biased, but I don't think the CEOs are too unhappy with letting the Water Vikings do quite well, as we've seen from a certain rematch. But let's move on. Let's move on to Army Republic, which is in the third place spot here. They've moved up 4 places this week. Not too bad really. And I haven't really got that many problems with Army Republic, even though the fact that their name really hasn't got anything to do with their uniform. I mean, they're dressed as ghosts, but they're just called Army Republic. No one really understands that, and there's no really other problems with them other than the fact that they might be a bit thick. I mean, I did manage to pretend to be Burrito Daily on that chat for 3 hours, and even Vinny thought that I was Burrito. So, I mean, I think they mean well. As an army, they mean well. They don't cause too many problems. They coop each other all the time, and I know I can't say that correctly, but I don't really give a fuck. But hey, they get on with their lives and it's all good. But let's talk about the Nachos. Obviously, my home army. I've been really a Nacho for about 9 years. What can I say about the Nachos? There's a lot wrong, okay? There's a lot wrong with the Nachos. They're not really as strong as everyone else thinks they are sometimes, and when they're obviously weak, they are obviously weak. But I'd say probably the main problem with Nachos is the retirees. They just don't fuck off. I'm one of them, but there are certain retirees, not naming any names, Shiver, that just sit on there talking about Nazism, Hitler, and just politics and racist shit all the time, and it's great. Like it's a different atmosphere to all the other armies because no one gives a fuck about scaring recruits away, but it's just it gets a bit much sometimes, and so that you sometimes end up getting the opposite of what the Nachos, fun sombrero army turns into a bit of a racist place, but it's okay. They've been alive for a very long time, so you can't doubt their strength. But let's talk about the Smart Penguins, which I've been led to believe, despite the fact that it says in their name they are smart, they're not very smart at all. As they just seem to keep coming on and off of the top 10 without any sort of reckless abandon. But yeah, to be honest, I think my main problem with them is probably the naming sense. I mean, if a group of people had picked a better, more influential name, perhaps you'd get more people joining. But if you get some guy coming up to you on Club Penguin going, I'm a smart penguin, join me. I'd just be like, well, who's this cunt trying to say he's clever? I mean, that's not something you point out yourself, is it? I mean, maybe it doesn't matter to 11-year-olds on Club Penguin, but it would matter to me. I don't claim to be clever. I like to let other people realise that fact. And yes, that's a fact. I suppose I'm just as bad as them now, aren't I? Let's move on to Army of Club Penguin, which let's face it, they haven't really been the same since 2012. And you know, they go up and down, and they make it up to the top of the top 10 occasionally, but usually they're sitting around 6th place. And I think that's fine, but it's just a little bit disappointing if you consider how strong they were, like pre 2013, 2012. And obviously they had a really good run on the top 10 when was it Flipmoo was involved, King Funks as well. They had that beautiful Aussia, I don't know how you pronounce that, Aussia division going on. You know, Australia, Asia, it's all good. But really, their chat's pretty much nothing but a hangout for everyone to come together and speak about Club Penguin armies. It's basically what CPAC tried to create when they made a chat room and failed to do, because everyone just preferred going to ACP's chat. But there's that. I mean, they're like the Nachos. They've been going for a very long time, and I respect them for that. And I've had a lot of good time speaking to people from ACP, so yeah, I mean, it's okay. But let's talk about the Wild Ninjas. Now, I had the privilege of speaking to the leader of the Wild Ninjas, actually, and I'm led to believe that they are a Spanish, or not Spanish, but Hispanic army, mainly based in South America. Now, I can speak a bit of Spanish myself, and you know, I thought their leader was very passionate, and he had a very good cause for making an army which doesn't speak English. I think it's great. It houses a lot of people who would rather speak Spanish than English. I think the problem is that, again, the naming sense not that great. I mean, I get the fact that the leader's not originally English, but that's a little bit much, Wild Ninjas. And also, I'm not really sure what kind of a place anyone who only speaks Spanish has in a community which has basically been English for 8-9 years now and nothing else. But I think it's a good thing, and I suppose I'd be saying pretty much the same thing about the Penguin Army Force, which I'm led to believe is created by exactly the same guy, actually. And they're a subdivision of the Wild Ninjas, apparently. I'm not really sure why they need 2 spaces on the top 10. I think CPAC should probably look into that one, seeing as I'm pretty sure they're all the same people. If you look at the pictures as well, it's fairly obvious. But really, the Penguin Army Force, again, it's just the same thing. They're just Spanish, and that's okay. But they probably ought to not exist and just be part of the Wild Ninjas instead. But hey, that's fine, isn't it? Well, let's talk about the Dark Warriors then in 9th place. Right. And I've got a problem with Dark Warriors, alright? Why do they feel the need to tell themselves that they're permanently shutting down pretty much every half of a year, and then just come back like nothing happened? I mean, next time they decide to shut down, which, let's face it, it's gonna be inevitable that they just die and they say, oh, that's it, it's all over, it's all over. Let's not do the whole we're shutting down forever. We'll just do the whole, yeah, we're probably going to be back, because to be honest, that's what we do every time. It doesn't matter who brings us back, they just do it, don't they? And they forget about the reasons why they shut down before. And I suppose the other thing about Dark Warriors is that there always seems to be like hackers on there. Like that's my impression. I always get the feeling that like all the super elite like DDoSers, hackers like hang out on Dark Warrior, but I might be wrong. I might have got completely the wrong impression about that, but I'm not saying that they're bad people. I'm not saying they've used their hacking abilities for bad or anything. I just get the feeling that that's where they will hang out. And obviously last place is in 10th. We got the Golds. And you know, the golds are actually a fairly decent army, but they're just a bit unnoticeable really, apart from that like one time where they did really well. I can't remember what year it was, but they were a force to be reckoned with. But every time they come back now, they're just sort of there for a bit, and then they go and they don't really do anything. They just sort of sit there, having a few events, getting on the top 10, and then just dying again. And yeah, that's fine. I suppose if that's what you want to do with Club Penguin armies, that's totally fine. But I mean, it's not the way I'd run an army. I mean, it's certainly not the way Waterkid would run an army. You know, he has to leave one and join one at least twice, and then get them to invade other ones for no reason. But probably don't go that far. But at the same time, they're just a bit boring, really. that's my impression. But I don't mean to be rude about that. I think that's just the impression I get from them. But yeah, that's all I've got to say really about everyone from the top 10. I mean, it's nothing that detrimental, but as I said, everybody's got their problems, and I wouldn't really say I've been roasting everybody. I'm sure a lot of people would say you were way too lenient. You were way too lenient on the smart penguins. They're a bunch of dickheads. But that's not the way I see it. I don't want to make enemies. I just want to poke a little bit of fun and point out that no one's perfect. No one's perfect. Not even me. I've got my own problems as well. For example, I don't know when to end a video. I just keep talking, and it's a bit of a problem, really. And I tell you what, I bet you anything the image I put with this video will stay the same throughout the entire thing, and it'll be boring as fuck. But hey, that's not a problem, is it? It's not too much of a problem. I hope it isn't. Anyway, I'll shut the video off now, and I hope you all enjoyed this. And I'll probably make something else soon. Not sure what it might be. Might be another facecam video, but I really have no fucking clue, and I don't want to. Alright. See you later, guys. Thank you very much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe for more shit. Thank you.